I want to give a huge shout out to Farron Hassan, one of my viewers and subscribers for Hard Lens Media. And he recently introduced me to a video and a story that he was part of a while back. And this has to deal when the NYPD was spying and targeting Muslim communities in and around New York cities. And now for years, officers and informants were spying in on hundreds of mosques, student groups, and Muslim-owned businesses solely for the basis of religion or ethnicity. And Hassan v. NYPD tells a dramatic story of how 11 New Jersey plaintiffs, a group of imams, college students, and business owners, and school teachers, and a U.S. Army sergeant come together to stand up to the NYPD in a critical fight for equal protection under the law and Constitution. So, Farron Hassan, if you're in the chat, much love to you. But here we go. We got to talk about this because I found this story out. And you know what? I think it's important that we do talk about it. So let's go ahead and bring this up for everybody watching. Now, again, this story is like 7 years ago. But I want to give a focus on it because when my viewers say like, hey, have you seen this? Check this out. Let's check this out because this is very relevant in today's day and age where, of course, hey, guess what? You yourself are being spied in on.
Recently, a report revealed by the Associated Press showed the New York Police Department spied on Muslims throughout the Northeast, listening in on sermons and conversations at mosques, grocery stores, even colleges.
Reporters had gotten their hands on actual NYPD documents that verified and unfortunately confirmed some of our worst fears.
Undercover officers visited businesses, identified the ethnicity of the owners, and took photos of their stores.
We're trying to be good American citizens. We're trying to, pay our taxes, work here.
I feel violated, of course. No one has the right to invade my privacy, and they have done that.
The New York Police Department was actually collecting this information, not only in New York, but in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut.
At its aspiration, it sought to put under surveillance all mosques within a 250-mile radius of New York City.
This morning, Muslim advocates filed a lawsuit in federal court on behalf of American Muslims in New Jersey, challenging the New York Police Department's discriminatory and invasive surveillance program.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim, Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alayhim, Ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim waladdallin. Amen.
So the beginning of our meeting is really going to be about unwarranted surveillance of the entire Muslim community in New Jersey. So just give us some of your thoughts. When the community found out about this surveillance activity, the imams came together from various mosques.
Muslims serve this country in all aspects. We are part of the fiber of this whole country, this whole nation. And when it was kind of uncovered that this is what they were doing, it was very, very shocking and disturbing. As not just Muslim, but citizen of this country, we felt as though our civil, human, and constitutional rights were being violated.
I had already had a relationship with the police director. Myself and a number of other Muslim leaders in the community would.
Now, real quick, again, Farron Hassan, who is, who definitely shared this video with me, said if it happened to Muslims, it can and it is happening to everyone. To which I have to say, real quick, a pause here. Pause. This is from last month's. The worries about AI and Trump's social media surveillance. So, hey, everyone, you are being spied in on. As the Trump administration goes after immigrants for allegedly posing national security threats, social media posts have taken a prominent role in the story, coming up in the Department of Homeland Security's allegations against Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalid and Georgetown University research Badr Khan and alleged gang member, again, Jose Reyes Barrios. It's not clear what tools the government is using to collect and analyze social media posts, and DHS didn't respond to a direct request about how it's surveilling online platforms. To get a picture of what kinds of tools they might be using, DFD reviewed active federal contracts from public government records and found 4 DHS contracts with social media monitoring companies. Given the rising anxiety about the use of artificial intelligence in mass surveillance, we also took a particular look at the role AI plays in the company's sales pitches. So you are going to be spied in on always.
Meet not only with Newark police, but with the state police. If the New York Police Department really wanted to find out about our community, all they really had to do was talk to the law enforcement people that were right here in New Jersey. That's all. You know, anything that law enforcement wanted to know, they could have come to any imam. So to alienate us would be to alienate perhaps the best resource to address the problem.
They're spying on us. They want to see, what's going on with us. Well, let's show them what's going on with us and establishing the community. When our rights are being infringed on, we all come together. Our unity is our biggest strength.
The reason why I was personally hurt because I'm a Vietnam veteran, honorably discharged. And I fought for this country, went through a war, and came home fighting for this Constitution, the right to religious freedom. And when it comes down to people sneaking and trying to spy on the religious community, me and some of the veterans were personally hurt. And our community were hurt. So that's what I had to say. Alhamdulillah.
The human being deserves some degree of honor. When you violate that sanctuary, you also violate the potential for those people to maintain and sustain their wholeness.
Congregations depleted because of this. People were scared that they were being videotaped and or photographed or recorded in some manner at mosques, minding their business, not doing anything wrong, practicing their constitutional rights. I found out that 3 of the mosques that I attend were on that list. It troubled me a lot. I once asked my dad straight out, why did you come to the US of all places? He said, because of liberty. I sincerely believe that that's the greatness of who we are and what we are as Americans. So I took an oath in September of 2001 to protect and serve the Constitution of the United States.
Hold on. Who's that handsome Heartlands Media patron with the eyeglasses? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Farron Hassan from back in the day. Good to see you, my friend. And thank you so much. He's also a fellow Chicagoan living in New Jersey now. But hey, Chicago recognized Chicago. And even in this photo of him back in the day, he's dripping Chicago, as he should be. But so for all of you need to understand, like, this video is 7 years old. But why am I playing it now? Well, first of all, obviously, again, just pointing this out here, surveillance, AI surveillance now more than ever. And look, we're having 4 contracts with social media monitoring companies turned up in public records. Again, look, you got a $2.7 million ICE contract. You got a $947,000 contract with DHS, $3.3 million ICE contract, a $1 million ICE contract. Again, you have all these people, all these institutions, all these companies had marketing materials promoting the use of their AI and their technologies. And like many companies in the AI space, from research to business, the contractors advise their ability to scan through millions of posts and use AI to summarize their findings. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. Just want to pull up this video here.
Farhaj is somebody who served our country valiantly in the Iraq War, yet here he was suddenly having to question whether he should be attending a mosque or which mosque he should attend.
Farhana from Muslim Advocates contacted me. Within 24 hours, I signed up to the case. And that's the start of Hassan v. New York City.
I think at the heart of this lawsuit is really the tension that we've had as a community, and frankly, many communities of color have had with law enforcement agencies. We're having an opportunity to shape law and shape policy in this arena that not many communities have had in some time.
The fact that they didn't gather any iota of evidence just tells you how much of an absolute waste of time this was, and it completely terrorized the community up and down the East Coast.
It's going to take a lot of hard work from literally each and every American, Muslim or non-Muslim, to do their part to ensure that our nation lives up to its ideals. Our staff and I started going out and meeting with community members in New Jersey. We spoke at community meetings. We spoke at gatherings of Muslim students. The plaintiffs include Muslim-owned businesses who experienced reduced foot traffic and customers asking about whether they're engaged in any kind of terrorist activity. It also includes students who suddenly had to think twice about whether they wanted to participate in a Muslim student group activity, to somebody having to think about whether they should be attending a mosque at all. I think there is a misperception that most Muslims are Arab, when that's not the case. Actually, the final set of plaintiffs represent a diversity of the American Muslim community. We have African American Muslims, Shia Muslims, South Asian Muslims.
Plaintiffs are good people who decided to take a stand when a stand needed to be taken.
Since public officials with direct oversight responsibility have turned a blind eye towards bigotry, the victims have bravely come forward, turning to the courts as a last resort. We filed that lawsuit in June of 2012. The city filed a motion to dismiss.
A federal judge ruled that police are not breaking any laws with their practice in the neighboring state of New Jersey.
In his ruling, the judge wrote that it was legal because, quote, the police could not have monitored New Jersey for Muslim terrorist activities without monitoring the Muslim community itself.
We didn't bat an eyelash. We immediately signed on to refight the case.
As you should. As you should. Look, here's the problem here, man. When you have such fear, especially after what happened on 9/11, an irrational fear of people being, dealing or trying to come to terms with what happened, we gave up a lot of our freedoms. We gave up a lot of our rights in order to be safe. But the thing is, what's the price of that safety? I remember a time, and look, this is a little bit off topic, but I remember a time when, you used to go walk all the way to the terminal at the airport and see your loved one actually get on the airplane instead of watching them go through the maze of madness at the airport. Everyone taking off their shoes, everyone going through this, everyone being body scanned. I remember simpler times, better times, before massive security and lockdowns. What have we given up?
The Constitution represents equal protection under the law. The plaintiffs in Hassan v. NYPD are fighting for that.
Some of the complaints are that not constitutional. Or, we believe that it is. Our attorneys believe that our actions are.
Prior to 9/11, intelligence gathering, for the most part, was really relegated to concerns about espionage and foreign intelligence kind of activities. After 9/11, both the federal government, the FBI, put in place a broad domestic intelligence apparatus at an unprecedented level.
I think what we saw in this moment, as we do in other political moments in the United States, a braiding of wartime authority and domestic repression. And so in those moments, there is political space to pass things like the Patriot Act, which actually had a long-standing wish list of things that law enforcement wanted, but now with a political moment to do so.
This is a dangerous place, but make no mistake about it. It's very cute to say we should stay away from anything that smacks of intelligence gathering. The job of our law enforcement is to make sure that they prevent things.
After 9/11, there was a mandate to prevent another attack, and therefore a shift in law enforcement paradigm from punishing past misconduct to trying to somehow predict criminality in advance. Muslim advocates asked CCR to join the litigation. And because we had been lead counsel in challenging stop and frisk in New York, which is racial profiling program, and this is the other side of the stop and frisk coin, it's religious profiling. And what those two things have in common is a fundamental dehumanization of the population. you have to assume that these people all behave the same way, and so we can treat them as a collective rather than based on individual conduct. And that's really damaging to our political and legal system.
Particularly the African-American Muslim community. You know, we had kind of experienced some of this in the past. I'm 65 years old, and when I was 20-something years old, a police officer stopped me in front of my house, and I just come home. My son was still in diapers. They grabbed me, threw me up against the side of the house, accused me of stealing the car, and then when they turned me around, the white police officer who had originally stopped me hit me across the face with his blackjack. The fact that I'm African American and I'm Muslim means that I'm falling into two categories that are commonly misunderstood.
We can be better. And this case is going to prove that.
I could feel the pain here. I could see it. Yeah, we could be better. And I do want to pull this up here. The NYPD settled out of court. They came to us at Seton Hall Law School and met with us. They said they would do better, understood the harm committed, and did not admit guilt. $1 million settlement.
Residents from New Jersey want to reverse a ruling that found the NYPD could legally monitor their activities. The plaintiffs argued their case before a U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Philadelphia today. A three-judge panel is reviewing a lawsuit that claims police conducted broad surveillance on Muslim businesses, mosques, and schools in New Jersey.
We were preparing for the oral argument in the matter that was now before the federal appellate court. And it was literally a week before our oral argument was scheduled to take place when the horrific attacks in Paris at the Charlie Hebdo magazine offices took place.
The legal cases operate in a political context. Of course they do. What happened in Paris is terrifying. And so it immediately triggered a question from one of the judges about the national security need for this program. But I do think we need to remind people that whatever the external threats are, this isn't a valid law enforcement technique.
What has happened since 9/11 and more importantly in Paris the other day indicates that there are legitimate police investigatory reasons for this surveillance.
But the question is, what means do the law enforcement use to, quote, investigate?
Nothing wrong with a police officer from New York City going into a mosque in New Jersey.
It is if it's subject to a city policy or custom that only singles out mosques but not churches. You cannot accept the city's explanation that they're using religion in a permissible way.
There was real power in the courtroom because it was packed with Muslim Americans.
The courthouse needed an overflow room to handle everyone. There was a sense that they were seeing history being made in the process.
They saw an advocate up there demanding their recognition, and that brought them a measure of a dignity even when they didn't know.
I'm going to pause here. Dabby Dabs, Harlan's Media. Thank you for doing this segment. No. Look, I try and reach out to my audience as much as I can on social media. So obviously check your DMs sometimes here and there, people. I do check out. I do reach out to you guys privately. I also try and reach out, respond to the many emails that I do get. I'm only one person. I'm only one man. I only could do so much, and sometimes even I need to take a break. But don't thank me. Thank one of the viewers who brought this to my attention. Longtime patron, supporter, and viewer, Farhan Hassan. This is who we should be thanking. So everybody in the live stream chat, thank Farhan Hassan. Thank him. I want to see thank you emojis or high fives for him. The Center of Constitutional Rights and Muslim Advocates were the legal eagles on this case. Funding them and the ACLU only led to good for all. Very good, and I'm happy for that. And HLM Community Rules. Thank you, everyone. Well, again, everybody, let's give some mandatory thumbs up to our friend here. So everybody, correction, Dabby Dabs. That's who you need to thank, because he shared me this video, and I said to him, you know what? I might put this on the show. And I turned that might into a promise. And a promise is a promise.
Know the ultimate outcome. Simply being classified by the government, suffering discrimination in this way, is itself an injury. It's stigmatizing, it's demeaning.
The fact that there is, according to this report, a program or a policy, whatever you want to call it, that does single out people because of their religion for surveillance. Does it not deserve a further look?
The lawsuit challenging the New York City Police Department's surveillance of Muslims in the wake of 9/11 is finding new life. A federal appeals court reinstated the suit, comparing the NYPD's activities to scrutiny of Japanese Americans during World War II.
The court recognized this is a practice in America, and Muslims are the latest target, but they aren't the first and they won't be the last. What's happening here, motivated by xenophobia and religious prejudice, is illegal and also consistent with some of the most repressive moments in U.S. history.
We've been down this very troubled road before, and we should not repeat these mistakes from history.
The Third Circuit Court of Appeals decided that American laws should be equitably shared amongst all Americans.
I can't believe that it's been 4 years that we've traveled this journey. I knew that it was imperative for us as leaders to take a stand. We were seeking justice not just for the Muslim community, but we were seeking justice for all faith communities who might be subject to some form of injustice. We want our children to understand that, they have a stake in America.
We're in a really worrying and sometimes disheartening political climate where Muslims are demonized, but they are recognizing that in America, for things to change, you have to build power among your own communities and be politically active and socially engaged.
This is a civil rights case. My co-plaintiffs and I will do what we can to have a better day for all Americans.
All right. And I wanted to play that segment for all of you because I think it was important. I want to give a shout out to Flatbush Pictures. They're the ones that did this documentary in 2018. And it is criminally underviewed. And this is a video again from 7 years ago. And Flatbush Pictures, I mean, I look, I'm just going to post the link, click, copy, paste here in the live stream chat. This is why you should subscribe to Hard Lens Media. This is why you should subscribe to Hard Lens Media. Also, and everyone else here. Let me go ahead and post it here also on Kick, so that way everyone can be made aware of that, and also posting it here on X as well. So now that it's been shared, here are my thoughts. Nothing's changed. You're still being spied in on. They're getting all your metadata. And it's just, they're not going to target one group. You're all being targeted. Don't you get it? You're all being targeted. You're all being viewed. You're all being seen at. It's the truth of it. So shout out to Flatbush Pictures. I think if you haven't done so already, please go to that link. I'll be posting this video in the description box, as well as a link into the community, into the comment section as well. But this is why I have huge support for my audience. This is why I really respect the work that everybody does in my community. I think that What we have built here at Hardlands Media is a very diverse audience across the political spectrum, because whether you are a Trump supporter, whether you're Republican, conservative, libertarian, green, socialist, Democrat, liberal, our privacy should not be infringed upon. We should not be video or filmed or spied on without our consent. I mean, not to mention, we shouldn't be having that at all happen to us. In this realm of fear, yes, I understand it. There is danger. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh no, we don't need anything. We don't need protection. No, in this day and age, there are bad people out there. But at what point does the government decide to weaponize its surveillance system and start viewing the people as the enemy? I want to read something here. Real quick that I shared with Farhan Hassan yesterday. Because I do like to talk with my community. I do like to talk with my people as much as I can when I can. This is what I wrote him. And he actually wrote this down for me. If you don't fight, you let everything else win. If you don't fight, you let everything else win. You got to fight. And one thing we must preserve is our right to be free citizens. Now more than ever. So, people in the chat have been thanking me. Correction. Thank one of my viewers. That's for you, Farhan Hassan.